Dear lover, I am writing to inform you of my most recent decision to finally leave you. I am writing a letter as per the recommendation of a girlfriend, one seasoned in this method of breakups, so as to avoid having the conversation in person. I imagined that if we were to have the conversation in person, you would say, "Stay, Rosalind, stay, stay." And stay I would. So I'm writing this letter. And by the time you read it, I and everything which is indisputably mine, everything which is without question my property, will be gone. I have been thinking about this for some time, and I suspect you have been as well. So I will spare you the embarrassing account of our farcical relationship and focus solely on the logistics concerning my ascent into the mountains of freedom. I will be taking some pieces of furniture with me, and even though the pieces I am taking are those which are most absolutely mine, I will cite them here so as not to cause alarm. This is my way. I have consideration for those around me. 1. The small 2-seat sofa I purchased during our stay in Rehoboth Beach. That sofa which you had absolutely despised, and which I had fallen deeply in love with. You refused, if you remember, to help get the sofa up the stairs. And it was I who aided the nice delivery man. I will be calling him after my departure from our current place of residence. He was very nice indeed. 2. The customized chopping block we purchased for the kitchen. Considering you have never cooked, not one day in your seemingly fulfilling life, you will have no use for this piece of furniture, other than to woo and wow your guests with its design. I, on the other hand, will put the marvelous surface to a lifetime of use. This is my justification, and if you would like, we can discuss this particular piece in more detail, but no other piece. I am unwilling to discuss any other piece. 3. The twin velvet chairs in our dining room. These belonged to my grandmother, as I am certain you have forgotten. My girlfriend, the one who recommended that I write the letter, had mentioned a period in my letter writing which would bring doubt as to whether I want to commit to this. "Write," she said. "Write about that very doubt and submit the letter all the same." So writing to you I am, though filled with doubt. Having considered those pieces of furniture, I was reminded of the very few fond memories we have had together. But this will not deter me from leaving. You will come home to see that I have removed all of my indisputably personal belongings, short of the raincoat you purchased for me in Brussels. I had requested a simple umbrella, if you remember, but you insisted on a raincoat, convinced that an umbrella is an easily forgotten object, but a raincoat one must wear. Goodbye, and none of the best to you. You are a wretched person. Rosalind.
Zeit, dass wir eine kleine Auszeit nehmen, damit wir auch die Chance haben, das, was wir anbieten,
Vorsicht
zu tragen. philo@wdr.de.
Surge Late Night presents a new program called The Spice and My Specialty. Here, we offer you a sexy, sultry reading of an otherwise bland, boring piece of text which may be, if you're lucky, your line of work. Tonight, we present you with an excerpt from the Hermes Rocket Portable Typewriter Instructions Manual. This one's for the Tom Hanks and the Woody Allens out there. Changing the ribbon. First of all, lift the spool covers by their narrow ends. Wind the ribbon onto one or the other spool by turning with the index finger. Press the shift lock key and tap on 2 keys to lock them together. The ribbon carrier will then lift and become more accessible. Take the ribbon out of the carrier slots and the 2 spools off their axles. Detach the end of the worn ribbon and hook on the new. Then replace the 2 spools on their axles. Always see that the eyelet is between the spool and the lateral ribbon guide, for this is indispensable to the automatic return of the ribbon. Slide the ribbon between the platen and the ribbon carrier, and then, from behind, introduce it in the slots of the carrier. The ribbon must pass behind this. Then, finally, free the 2 lock types and the shift locks. You're finished.
libre souriant.
La bombe. De rest van de wereld trekt er.
Diane has fallen in love, and she carries the feeling around like an unsettled little animal. Something Diane has rescued from under a car tire. Something she meant to take in until the snow melted and living conditions in basements improved. Her love is unreciprocated. At least this is her belief. Her heart's delight has ceased communication with her after a hot and heavy night of second base. He, Lee, has referred to it as second base. Diane has never conceived of love in bases, but if this is so, Diane is in the throes of a heartbreaking home run. Diane's mother comes over and washes the strategically placed pile of dishes Diane has accrued in the last 5 days. Diane sleeps naked, and when she awakens, Diane slowly dresses herself in clothes nearest to her. Her mother watches, tisking. An unhealthy-looking Diane enters her office the following day. Her coworkers are clad in newness. New haircuts, new high scores, new permanent pieces of jewelry. Not Diane. She brought the new year in modestly. Dinner with friends. During lunch, a coworker greets Diane warmly. He wraps his arms around her, and his finger lands on a small bruise she acquired on her shoulder from her night with lover Lee. He presses the little bruise button, and Diane shrivels into yowls and sobs. Her coworker, ill-equipped for the situation, follows Diane down onto the carpeted floor. The coworker calls for help, and others join him on the floor, surrounding sobbing Diane. Someone holds out a handkerchief, but Diane prefers her hands, onto which she unearths snot, tears, and spit. Slowly, a group of 3 coworkers pull Diane onto a chair, supporting her only by her upper arms. Diane's deskmate offers to drive her home, and receiving no verbal response from Diane, who focuses only on slowing her heart rate, guides her to the parking lot. As Diane exits the car, having arrived at her destination, she thanks her deskmate. Even at a time like this, Diane remembers that gratitude is the key to a healthy colleagueship. She enters an apartment devoid of her mother, but littered with her recent presents. The dishes, for example, are neatly stacked and towel dried. Clothes do not cling to chairs and mirror frames, and silk sunflowers glow yellow in a small vase on the windowsill. Sullen Diane lays in a freshly sheeted bed, and after some time, falls asleep. She dreams of nothing, and awakens in the early evening, resolved to pull herself up by the bootstraps, as they say. No more love for Diane. No more silly, second-rate love. From now on, Diane will tread carefully, follow the caution signs, and hold out for the gold. Diane makes dinner with the remaining fresh produce and her mother's marinated chicken breast. She was always able to hold her own in the kitchen.